Section 2.2, multiplication of fractions in applications. Okay, so we're going to find the width of floor space covered by 44 boards with 4 and 5/8 inch exposed surface area. Whenever you're reading mixed numbers, normally you say the whole number and you say and then you say the fraction. So this is 4 and 5/8, but I'm not going to test you over that, obviously. All right, so find the width of floor space covered by 44 boards with a 4 and 5/8 inch exposed surface each. Okay, because we're trying to find the floor space covered, we're going to multiply the 44 boards by the amount that they cover, which is the 4 and 5/8. Okay, now there's actually a couple of ways of doing this. One is you can do everything purely by fraction. By the way, you can use this on your calculator. All the problems that we're dealing with right now, a good scientific calculator, a 2i89, 2i, a TI-86 Pro, or something like that, they'll be able to deal with all the fractions quite easily. There's different grades of scientific calculators that you could use for this, but all the ones I've seen, even the super cheap dollar ones, they can do fractions. So there's even a lot of four-function calculators that can deal with fractions as well. So don't feel compelled to do everything the long way that I'm going to show you. Feel free to use your technology. That's probably a better idea. It will save you enough time. Trust me, $10 will save you dozens of hours, dozens and dozens of hours. So might be worth forking over maybe even $20 to get a really nice scientific calculator. Okay, having said that, let's do this the long way by hand. Okay, so the 44 stays the 44, but how do we do this? Well, first thing is I probably want to turn this into an improper fraction instead. Now, we already went over how to turn a improper fraction into a mixed number. Now we're going to do the reverse. We're going to turn a mixed number into an improper fraction. So what you do is you're going to multiply the whole number by the denominator. Okay, so you're going to say 4 times 8, right? 4 times 8. And then once you do that, you're going to add in the numerator, which is the 5 in this case. So 4 times 8 is a 32. Then you're going to add the 5, which gives me a 37. Okay, so again, 4 times 8 is 32. 32 plus 5 is 37. So that gives me 37, and we just stick the denominator back on it, which is the 8. So that actually turns into a 37 over 8. Okay, so far so good. Now, next thing is you can, before you multiply these fractions together, when you multiply, you just multiply straight across. So it's going to be 44 times 37, 1 multiplied by 8. But before you do that, what we can do is we can simplify these fractions. So we can say 44 divided by 4 and 8 divided by 4. That's the largest number I can divide into both of those, right? I should say divided by 4, divided by 4. And the result of that is going to be an 11, and the result of this is going to be a 2. Okay, so what we have now is we have 11 over 1 times 37 over 2. And what that gives you is a 407 over a 2. Okay, so then we divide. We say 407 divided by 2. That gives me 2, 0, 3, and 1 half. Now, there's a little bit of a problem right here in that normally you're not going to say 203 and 1/2 inches. You're going to say feet, right? So this is actually going to get a little more complicated in that you probably want to be able to convert this to feet. So let's see how we convert this to feet. So we're going to say 203 divided by 12. Again, we're trying to convert the 203 feet to inches. That's the question, inches. Okay, and the way we do that is the conversion between feet and inches is 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. And what that means is, because we're going from the feet, which is a larger unit because one of them equals 12 inches, and so we're going to the larger unit, so we're going to divide. So when you're going from smaller units like inches to larger units like feet, you're going to be dividing. In this case, we're going to be divided by 12. Try to keep this simple. So what we would do is we'd say 203 divided by, right, 203 divided by 12. Right, so 12 goes into 2, no time, but 12 goes into 2. I'm just going across, goes in there once. So then you'd say 12 from 20 is 8. Does 12 go into 8? No. Bring down the 3. Then you'd say 12 goes into 80. How many times? You could say it goes in there 6 times. You'd say 6 times 12 is 72. And you would say 83 minus 72 is an 11. and 12 does not go into 11, so that is the remainder. So that gives you 11. So basically, 203 feet is equal to, 203 inches. Oh, I wrote that completely backwards tonight. Inches is equal to a certain number of feet. There we go. Okay, so what that does is give you 16 feet and plus 11 inches. Okay, so we have 16 feet and 11 inches. Now, we're not done, though, because if you notice, we still had this 1/2 over here. 1/2. Okay, so if you wrote this in decimal, it would be something like 16 feet, 16 feet and 11 plus 1/2, so you could write that as decimal 0.5 inches. Or I guess you could write it 11 and 1/2 inches. That'll work too. Same thing. So it would be 16 feet, 11 and 1/2 inches. Or 16 feet, 11.5 inches, if you're dealing with some decimals as well. I know that was a bad one, but it's okay. Okay, so shingles are laid out so that 3 inches or 12 feet are exposed in each layer. How many feet of roof will be covered by 23 courses? Okay, so let's do this. So what we could do is 23 times, and we could do 3, since we're going to want the feet anyways, we can instead try to convert everything to feet, and whatever's left over, we convert that to inches. It's kind of doing the opposite process, right? So let's try that. Let's try this a little bit different way. So let's say we divide both those by 3, and what we get is we get 1/4. So they're each 1/4, and this terms is in feet, right? So I got it from here, the feet, right? Okay, so we're going to multiply this by 1/4 feet. Okay, so when we're multiplying, we multiply straight across. So this is really 23 divided by 4. So if I was to write out the longhand, it would look something like this. All right, so you divide it in there, it goes in there 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. 23 minus 20 is 3, remainder of 3. Therefore, if I were to write this, and again, we're dealing with feet now, so what we would do is we would say, well, this is 5 3/4 feet. Okay? Not too bad. Now, in this case, we probably want to convert these fractional feet to inches, though. That's the way you're normally going to see it. So there is an additional possible step of saying, well, 3/4 feet is equal to how many inches? How many inches? Right? And what you would do is, well, what's the conversion? Well, it's 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Well, I'm going from a large unit, 1 foot, to a small unit, inches. And that means I need to multiply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 3/4 feet, and I'm going to multiply by the 12 inches. Okay? Now, this is understood beautiful one. So I can divide both the 4 and the 12 by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is a 3. 4 divided by 4 is a 1. So what you end up with 3 times 3 over 1 times 1, which is 9. Whoops, 9 over 1, which is just 9. Okay? So what we do is, what we could write is we could rewrite this original as 5 feet, 9 inches. And that would be an answer. So it's either 5 3/4 feet, or it's 5 feet and 9 inches. Now you can memorize some of these. 1/2 a foot is 6 inches. 1/4 of a foot is 3 inches. 3/4 of a foot is 9 inches. If you do this enough, you're going to memorize some of the most common fractions of a foot in terms of inches. So that'll happen. In which case, you could just spit out the answer. But that's how you do it longhand if you were actually writing out all the steps.